everybody. This is Elaine Bartlett, and you are stepping with me right this moment into the Purple Portal, where we will spend the next 55 minutes figuring out what's happening, what's up and what's happening, and why the heck did my darling precious computer have to become so infected. I trust that many of you got the email yesterday saying, be careful, don't open. And one of you actually had reached me just before I went on the air out in Texas. My guy, Jeff, here says you're okay, as long as you didn't go too far with it. You could just open it and then not do anything. So I think everybody's okay. And my wonderful computer is in sick bay. But because I'm a contemplative being, I have really given this some introspection and reflection because I want to know what's happened to it and therefore to me. So the first thing I determined was an infection means I have to detox. So once again today, I put my body onto a detox program. I believe our computers are an extension of us, just as our automobile is. So I look to it for guidance, and I know it looks to me for guidance. And it's interesting because my Jeff here at the station, it gets a little confusing. I have two precious Jeffs in my life, Jeff at this station, and another Jeff is my computer guru. So Jeff at the station, had some good insights for me. And I suspect through contemplation and everybody's input, particularly Jeff's, I understand that I've opened too many things. Now, what that's about is I have to be more boundary oriented in opening myself to other people's energy. Everybody gets to play the game of life the way they want to. And that's where I come back with a deeper appreciation of trying to hold my own boundaries and be protective, and certainly not absorbing the other one's stuff. So my computer, once again, has been a great, great teacher about discernment and being too open with no boundaries. And that doesn't mean I'm not of great service. It simply means learning discrimination and discernment. And learning that the presence of me is all aware. So it's kind of working with that presence to cultivate a greater sense of awareness. I did not go down the pathway yesterday of cursing my computer, which probably, in the old days I might have, this is such an inconvenience. I calmly, once I heard from computer guru Jeff, I simply unplugged it and brought it to the hospital and left it in very good hands. And I do have to say, there's some gook on it. So we have to be careful of people sliming us. Please don't allow people to slime you with their gook. Nor do they have the privilege of repeatedly throwing up on you. There comes a time when it's very important to step back and stop it. So I'll give you a couple of the things that has happened to me, aside from the computer. So let me sort of wind that up. Let me tell you that because it's in good hands, I really can only bless two things here very, very deeply. Bless the fact that I have found an integrity-filled computer guru. That is huge, especially for someone like myself who has had, the roaming bug for a few years. So this is a great gift. So anybody who lives anywhere remotely in South Florida and you need a computer guru, his name is Jeff, and he is with Da Vinci computer systems. That's step one. Step two, I became very gratitude-filled that I actually have the money this month to afford him detoxing my whole computer. And it's interesting. It's kind of interesting to me that it happened at this time, because not only did I understand the value of detoxing my physical body yet again today, for different reasons, a few days ago, I started the detox without understanding that my computer was sick. So my body started the detox, and here's what I'm doing. And it's to balance the acid and the alkaline in my system. And I lovingly share this with you, all of you. I think it's worth doing, and it's about a 2-week process, and here's what it is. You go to the supermarket and you buy a bag of organic lemons. You take the lemons home. You squeeze the lemons, and I actually have a lemon, like a juice squeezer, so you get all the juice. You add that to a cup of water. I prefer warm water. You add a quarter of a teaspoon, or to taste, this wonderful healing Manuka honey, which I get the top grade. The one I'm using now is called the doctor level. It's level 20. It's a 20 factor. Then I add about a teaspoonful of baking soda. So I went and bought a new box. Don't use the box that you've had in the refrigerator for 6 years or more. Use a new box. Add this baking soda very carefully, because it tends to fizz on up. Stir it around and drink it down. You will find the detox is awesome. I suggest you do this minimum twice a day, and if you can, 3 times a day. And all of that just because I needed a detox, and then my computer further agreed that I needed a detox. But it's very important for us to keep the acid and the alkaline in our system balanced. We get out of balance, number 1, with the stress, number 2, with the crummy diets that we're eating, and number 3, improper air, water, sleep, etc., etc. So you want to get that back in balance. Actually, last week, a girlfriend had sent me a whole little container full of capsules to get the acid and the alkaline balance back, which I began taking. But once this kind of crossed my path, I was even happier. Is it the most happiest drink I've ever had to swig down? No, but I've had worse. And it reminds me that indeed food is medicine. And of course, we have been violating it and abusing it for a few thousand years, but it's really become exacerbated over the last 100 years. So a great, great remedy for you. Here's a little thing that happened this morning. And again, it's kind of been unfolding. A dear friend of mine called, I guess last Friday or so, and she was very concerned because she felt that perhaps something was wrong with her body. She's in the healing arts. Those of us in the healing arts, we know. We pay attention to our body. Our body's our best friend. And as much as we'd like to ignore it at times, which indeed she had for a couple of months, she finally paid attention and thought, no, there's something wrong. So she called me and wanted me to look within my oracles, is there something wrong? Should she go see a Western doctor? I am not completely opposed to Western doctors. For some of you, they're still working. They just don't work for people like us that are very sensitized and in the healing arts, or they work to a lesser degree. So I was very careful, very objective, put down all of my judgments about it, because when you need it, you need it. Look, last year, as many of you know, all right, I had to take penicillin or the equivalent of. When you got to do it, you got to do it. I still think we have to learn other ways, but that's unfolding. So as I was checking my oracle for this friend, I became rather alarmed. I used the words, the oxymoron, "You are good and sick." Well, that caught her attention because I don't use that phrase lightly. I said, you need to speak with someone. You either need to get to a Western doctor or you need to get to one of your people because you're in hot water and you can't mess around with it. There's sometimes when you need to be shocked because I'm so gentle and so, you miss the memo sometimes. And sometimes I got to really snap you between the eyebrows to get your attention. Well, that got her attention. She hung up and she immediately made the appointment this morning to go see someone of our ilk that could recalibrate and really determine what is wrong without a whole battery of MRIs and PET scans and CAT scans and every other kind of scan. And indeed, pretty much after the first assessment, the woman said to her almost my exact words, "You are good and sick." So that woman proceeded to make some adjustments and corrections, told her what the issue is. And my friend called me as she then left there and was now headed to work. And she gave me the report, and then my job was to determine, did that woman get it? Did she nail it? Or is there something else, again, that perhaps Western medicine would see and could see? Well, it didn't look like it. It looked as if this was a two-part deal, that my friend had to do her work and the corrections that this other woman made would settle in. It would settle itself down and settle and go, My concern was because earlier, the few days prior, I knew deep in my soul that she had an opportunity for an exit from this lifetime. And that was not something that I shared with her, but I absolutely knew it to be true. And so over the weekend, I did my part very quietly, very under the radar, without her knowledge, and just worked to coordinate with her presence. What do you want? You want to come? You want to go? You want to stay? I'm with you, whatever you choose. So as she's driving, all of a sudden, she's concentrating on what I'm saying, so to the point where she didn't get upset, thank goodness, but she kind of, well, it looks like I've missed my exit. To which I simply said, yes, I believe you did. And then she got it. She understood that indeed she could have exited, but she has missed her exit at this time. That is just so cool. The subtleties of how life gives us every single sign that we need. And the sign was, that was close, but you missed your exit. So you have to laugh at this stuff and not take ourselves so seriously. I mean, certainly it was kind of a life or death situation, but I didn't take it seriously. And as I lighten up, she can lighten up. And as she lightens up, her spirit can stay and continue on her path of learning and service. So it's pretty darn cool how it works. And the other happy case was a couple of nights ago. Again, I mind my own business in life. I am diligent. I'm doing what I'm doing. Those who